Today we're driving a 1991 Acura NSX, that's the NA1 generation owned by Vince out here at Laguna Seca, courtesy of Lightspeed Track Events. Use code JABAL for $25 off your next event. The full mod list, as always, is down in the description. Some key highlights: we have the OEM 3-liter V6 engine rebuild with a Koyo radiator and an RFY GT exhaust. Volk Racing TE37 wheels, 17 by 8.5 in the front, 18 by 10.5 in the rear, wrapped in RT660 plus rubber, 215 section width front, and 265 in the rear. Carbotech XP10 in the front, XP8 in the rear brake pads. KW V3 coilovers with various supporting suspension mods. Again, you can find the full list down in the description. And also some very tasteful interior and exterior aesthetic and life improvement mods as well. Now, I'm not seated very comfortably. My hands are fully stretched out because of my own silliness. There was a miscommunication between me and the owner, and the steering wheel is all the way in. It is not telescoped all the way out like I would prefer. But again, that's on me. Lesson learned. And taller drivers can actually be more comfortable here.
Does this have ABS?
Yeah.
Good to know before you get out on the track rather than learning the hard way. Now, in the first few laps, I'm driving quite conservative. This is my first time ever driving an NA1 NSX on the track. And we're gonna actually shave off a couple seconds every lap or two. But starting off conservative because, you know, mid-engine rear-wheel drive, want to get a feel for this car. Super heavy steering, unassisted rack, which is so delicious. I personally don't mind a heavier rack. On a longer session, it'll probably wear you down. But just doing a half session or one session, it gives you so much feel, so much dynamic loading. You can tell exactly what is happening at the front end, not just the road texture, but huge magnitude shifts in terms of how heavy the steering is as you are loading up the front. Gearing is incredibly long. You're gonna find me mostly in just second and third gear. VTEC right around 5,500 RPM, and just above that threshold now, pushing up to that 8K red line, short shifting just a little bit. Here as we approach turn 6, oh, it gets so heavy right there. So heavy in the steering wheel. The first lap you do that, it's actually a bit concerning. It's a bit disorienting. You're like, whoa, is everything okay with the car? But it's just because it has so much of that dynamic loading from being an unassisted rack. I can carry a lot more speed there, but this is a new car to me, and we're gonna slowly carry more and more speed there on turn 6. Getting held up a little bit by this 300ZX in front of us. That is a very cool car. And I love the visibility in this car. You have that F-16 inspired cockpit, so you have total visibility over the front, can place the car quite precisely. Older cars also have a very thin A-pillar. And while the power and torque is adequate, the gearing is just far too long because this does not have the JDM shorter gears. We're hitting a 157.9 on this lap, and there are many more seconds to gain here. Now approaching turn 2, still braking quite conservatively because the NA1 NSX, just like the Honda S2000 that followed, notorious for being underbraked from factory. And even with these pads, the rotors and calipers are just so small, they can't heat soak. Super long gearing. Still getting held up a bit by this Camaro, but we'll be passing shortly. Thank you for that point by, good sir. Loving the shifter feel as well. I feel like the NA1 NSX and the Honda S2000 have two of the best shifters of all time. Giving a point by to that RS Porsche behind. Now we're carrying a little bit more speed here into turn 6, but still have a lot more speed we can carry. Again, you don't want to go too far to the inside. You'll hit the turtle, that bright sausage, and then either damage your wheels or your suspension. And then if you miss the divot, that little dip there, you won't have as much grip and you'll fly out into the sand. So it's one of those turns where you slowly want to build comfort and build speed. Throttle response nice and immediate, so heel towing doesn't really require a huge learning curve. Even though this is a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, it is actually quite planted in this setup. And it's easier to drive than I was expecting. Carrying a bit more speed now into turn 10, having to do some micro corrections. But ooh, we are out of VTEC, 5,500 RPM, there we go. Having some issues there getting into second, wanted to make sure Let go of the clutch slowly there. The shorter gearing here would make a massive difference, but for a car from the early 90s with just some supporting mods, you know, coilovers and engine rebuild to restore that OEM power level, this car feels really good. It actually feels quite excellent to drive. That last lap we got down to a 155, but there was plenty more time to save here. And now that we're starting to push the car a bit harder, and we're also getting later on into the session, you can feel the brakes getting a bit hot, and I'm gonna start going a little bit more conservative on my braking points. Could have gotten on that throttle a bit earlier. Still short shifting just a little bit. Trying to carry a bit more speed here into 6. There's still a lot more speed to be had, but ooh, right in that compression, you can feel the steering get so heavy. If you're able to maintain it into VTEC, that would be key here because you want to compound that next straight, this uphill going towards the corkscrew. Really compounds in any car, but even more so if you're below versus above that VTEC threshold. A lot of steering angle required because these older unassisted racks, they're going to have a slower steering ratio, of course. Feeling more and more comfortable in turn 10 with this car. One of the few corners where I'm actually having to do a little bit of micro correction. Getting a bit held back by this GT2 RS. But still, as we push across the line, a 151.1, shaving off 4 seconds from the prior laps. And I can feel the brakes getting hotter still. They're still barely holding on. I'm gonna be braking a little bit earlier, see if we can make it last the whole lap. Trying to double apex this turn 2. A lot of steering angle, down to 3,500 RPM though. Not a lot of power down here. The really long gears are quite noticeable, not only on street, but even on track. I'm starting to get more and more comfortable because this car, the steering is incredibly communicative. This chassis itself is also not bad, especially for this age of vehicle. So you actually can feel yourself getting more and more comfortable, trusting the car and what it's telling you more with each and every lap. Again, could have gotten on the throttle a little bit earlier there. Trying to carry more speed still through turn 6. And ooh, right there, every time you get that compression, the steering gets so heavy, which I think the first time is surprising and shocking, and then every lap after that is actually kind of fun. Definitely push it harder here in turn 9, being quite conservative. Was getting a bit frustrated about the exit of turn 10 there not being in VTEC, so I tried downshifting into 2nd, which was helpful. Kept us in the power band, kept us in VTEC. And across the line, we're able to shave off a couple more seconds, now down to a 149.7. And at this point, as I'm building comfort, ready to start setting a 48, 47, and so on, the brakes start going even more. So we're gonna actually dial it back, slow things down. That was the fastest lap of the day. Still several seconds in this car that can easily be achieved. But I mean, overall, the hype is there for a reason. These cars are so beautiful to drive both on the street and on the canyons. With older cars, you obviously need to put more time and money into them to get them to drive in a way that feels appropriate in modern day. So here, Vince has already done a great job with the KW-V3 coilovers, but the JDM short gear kit and also a BBK I think would really take the driving experience to the next level. But even still, in its current form, it is an excellent driving experience. You have the reward, the communication, the way that it both encourages you and challenges you as a driver. And I mean, the hype is there for a reason. There's a reason why so many people love these cars. And even after 3 decades, they hold their own. And now here's the conversation I had with Vince afterward.
How was that?
That was great.
Your brakes are limited.
Yeah.
Actually, on the last lap, they really started getting faded. I'm glad we got the checkered flag right when we did, because when I got behind this guy and I got on the brakes, I'm like, oh, whoa, holy shit.
I noticed it 2 to 3 laps before checkered.
Was that?
I noticed it well before checkered. I'm like, yeah, we're losing it.
It was starting to go a little bit, but it was still like feeling not too bad. And then I started being more conservative with the braking zones.
Yeah.
But then on this cooldown lap, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
like
it gives.
my foot's going all the way down.
Yeah.
Why are these gears so incredibly long? I know that they're long, but
second and third are long. They're forever gears.
yeah, I've driven some of these with stock gearing on the streets, but holy shit, this is next level long. I'm like, the whole track is second and third.
You're using 2 in turns, I'm still in third.
I just want a bit more, because like otherwise I feel like I don't have enough torque with this engine down low. What do you think?
No, I agree. You know, with my driving style and ability, I'm still, you know, in the turns you're downshifting the 2 to get the torque. I'm in 3 because I'm just kind of right at that border.
I see. I just want to cool this down a bit.
Yeah.
Did you see some places where like your driving style is different than mine, and
yeah, definitely,
and like maybe some lines that you want to tweak or things like that?
Yeah, definitely, turn by turn. Gearing choice, line choice, all that.
So towards the end I was getting a bit more comfortable, and I was probably pushing around 8/10 there, and the car is actually a lot more planted than I was expecting. I figured, you know, mid-engine, older car, pushing it hard, it must not be that stable, but it's actually pretty planted. I think because of your wheel tire setup, and also the car doesn't have a monstrous amount of power given the size of the vehicle and the size of the tires. It's actually a lot easier to drive than I thought. The transmission is a joy to use, but sometimes, I don't know if you noticed, there was one time I was trying to get into second on turn 11, and I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I had to slowly let go of the clutch to make sure I was where I thought I was. You probably don't have any issues because you're the owner. You drive this all the time, right?
No, I notice an issue of getting into second and third at high RPMs when I'm tracking the car. Street,
Okay.
not so much. But definitely I run into that issue like you saw. I saw on turn 11 where you couldn't get it in second.
Yeah. This car is fucking sick, dude.
Oh, right here. You can park on the left of my mat with my bike. Hey, you're keeping up with the big boys.
What was that?
Keeping up with the high horsepower cars.